Before I talk about how Ignition has impacted customers CITI has worked with, I'll give a brief overview of my experience. My first project for the company was converting a water treatment plant from Lookout to Ignition version 7.8. And I think one of the best testimonials for IA University is that I had zero previous experience with Ignition and yet was able to convert an entire facility after completing the training course. So over the years, I've had experience working with version 7.7 all the way to version 8.1, and I've created applications for wastewater treatment, water distribution telemetry, and wastewater collections. Over the past 7 years, I've had the opportunity to convert 18 different applications to Ignition, and about 300,000 tags are represented across those applications. And finally, just to give you an idea of the type of conversions, some were one-to-one, meaning we maintained the original 3D graphics, but others were transformative. So we went from a fully rendered 3D graphic to high-performance HMI graphics. It's been my experience with these conversion projects that Ignition becomes the preferred solution because of the competitive pricing and the unlimited licensing structure inductive automation uses. I'm sure many of you on the call can relate to the nature of a competitive bid project. In the water wastewater industry, the majority of projects are carried out this way. So we have found that in those situations, Ignition really stands out from other offerings. In fact, in all of the 18 projects I've personally worked on, Ignition's price came out at the same or often far less than the other SCADA products approved for use in the project. And just as a side note, I personally have seen that Ignition has made really good inroads in this industry because over the past 3 years or so, I've seen it written into specs by name. So I wanted to share some specific ways that Ignition has stood out in our projects. Firstly, the unlimited number of tags has been a significant benefit. So over these 18 projects that I've been a part of, normally they are at 30,000 tags or so, which is very often the middle tier of a traditional SCADA license model. So my experience has been once a customer sees firsthand how easy it is to manage tags in Ignition and how nicely tags can be structured versus a flat tag structure that is common for other vendors, they will immediately reach back out to us to convert other systems. So as an example, we had a customer that asked us to pilot Ignition for them, and just from that single facility that was piloted, it opened the door for doing 9 other facility conversions. Secondly, the unlimited clients have also been a great selling point. Often it's opened the door to an expansion of the systems after the conversion is complete. So for example, we have a customer who has a water telemetry system. In the original, there was 1 client running at each of their 3 plants. Slowly over time, they expanded the number of clients to 3 per facility and an additional 2 at another facility just for the purpose of maintenance personnel to monitor how things were going. This was very simple for them to do since they had no need to procure a separate client license, so they didn't even have to necessarily involve us with that process at all. It was something that could be customer led. As a side note, I was very impressed how well these clients performed over a low speed, high latency network overall. Second example I have is we have started utilizing the ability to launch an unlimited amount of clients to replace traditional types of OIT interfaces. So this would give us the benefit of managing local control interfaces on the same gateway as the complete SCADA system. Making changes is also much easier and faster than changing the program via a traditional application. As an added benefit, even when we elected to use Ignition Edge, the price of the computer plus Ignition Edge was still more affordable than the traditional local control interface. And that control interface we compared against, by the way, was around 15 inches compared to a 22-inch 1920 by 1080 PC that we put in its place instead. I can say it's been my experience that customers really appreciated having a full-size monitor when they're trying to start up or are there in person to troubleshoot a complex process. Another point I have is with unlimited PLCs. So I've noticed that our customers now are often choosing to connect directly to these network devices instead of trying to pull them through an already established PLC topic. So this makes it much easier to add extra points as needed instead of having to change an existing PLC program to pull another PLC. You can simply add that network device to Ignition, add the points you need, and everything's done. So having that new connection automatically established on the backup gateway is also much simpler than the legacy systems that the customers have had to work with before. And of course, since they're adding this topic directly in Ignition, there's the added benefit of better troubleshooting of the topics because the Ignition system can much more easily alarm on a connection lost instead of monitoring points that are evaluated in a separate PLC. So the other 2 points I wanted to make are around the flexibility of modules and the simplicity of the licensing. I found that even with a very small facility, we can get them started with Ignition by simply starting small. In those situations, we propose the core platform, the perspective module, and the tag historian. With just those features, they can have a fully functional system, and down the road, they can add more advanced features such as the reporting module or the SMS alert module, or you can look on the website, there are plenty others to choose from to add more features. But having all that functionality across the modules of things like alarm notification, a tag historian, and visualization, and all of that being wrapped in one license, makes it much easier to deal with the yearly support billing. And we've never had to worry about a customer growing to a point of needing to purchase an expensive tag count upgrade. So overall, I would say that Ignition has made it much easier for our customers to achieve their operational goals. We can not only achieve the functionality they had previously in the system we converted from, but with Ignition, we have been able to build useful dashboards, built-in reporting, free-form tag history exports, and even SCADA bug tracking systems. So between the ability to build extra functionality and the affordable pricing structure, these conversion projects have all been very successful.